Welcome back to Sweet Independence. Most beauty professionals think that they need to keep growing to be successful, that bigger is always better. But today you're going to hear from Pam Edmondson, who is going to flip that thinking on its head. Welcome to Sweet Independence, the podcast for beauty professionals ready to build the business of their dreams. I'm Kristen Kinzel, founder of Utopia Modern Salon Suites. With 34 years in this industry, I've seen firsthand the power of independence and community. We'll ditch the stress, unlock your potential, and give you the clarity and confidence to thrive. Get ready to transform your career and build the fulfilling life you deserve. Your flourishing future starts now. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are at our Cranbrook location with Pam Edmondson, owner of Evergreen Skin Studio.
Hey, good to be here.
So Pam, tell us a little bit about your business and what you specifically do for people.
So I'm an esthetician. I've been an esthetician for 20 years. I do mostly facial treatments and holistic skincare. I'm also a certified health coach, so I kind of focus on more of a holistic treatment method involving both topical treatments and nutrition and lifestyle aspects.
I love that. So you've been doing this for 20 years. Where all have you been with your career? What got you here?
So I've pretty much had all the roles. I started as an employee in a spa, and I did that for a couple of years and then decided to become a solo esthetician. Mm-hmm. Things were a lot different back then. There weren't places like suites. That wasn't even a thing.
Where did you work?
So I ended up renting a little room in a hair salon, not that far from here really. And I did that for a while, and then the space wasn't great logistically. So I found a place that was kind of more my own, just a little tiny place in Clifton Square.
Nice.
I was literally like in the attic, you guys. It was crazy. And I did that for a while and decided to take on kind of more of a team. Like I rented out a few rooms. I moved to a little bit bigger space, had 3 rooms, and rented a couple of them out and learned a lot there. And then eventually moved to an even larger space where I had a storefront and I had both booth renters and employees at that location. So we had like 7 rooms there.
Wow.
Did that for like 11 years, that part of it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And then after that, what made you decide to make a change at that point?
So after COVID, I hate to blame everything on COVID, but it did precipitate a lot of stuff. So it just seemed like things kept getting exponentially harder, and I was working so much more and my profit margins were shrinking, and I was really found myself getting away from what I wanted to do every day, which is why I became self-employed in the first place. So it just kind of hit me one day that, maybe these are all signs that it's time,
Did you deal with a lot of turnover?
Yes, there is a lot of turnover in this industry. I think it just kind of naturally lends itself to that. I'm sure it's the same way with hair, but it's just, I think a lot of people get into the industry, don't really know what they're in for, don't really understand what the job is, and that really leads to a lot of turnover. And it can be very competitive too. So that I think plays into it too. So I've trained a lot of estheticians over the years.
We'll get to that because I'm excited to talk about what you're doing as far as training and educating, helping other estheticians. So when you decided to close your spa, you came to Utopia. And how has that changed your business?
So I knew it would be a big change going into it, obviously, going from all this staff and all this space to manage to just me and my little suite. But there were some things I didn't expect. I probably spent the first almost a year like teaching myself to calm down. Like you don't have to work as hard. I had kind of fallen into that rhythm of just constantly hustling, And so it was nice to kind of realize I could just go at my own pace, I guess. And then the other thing that was very unexpected is I actually ended up with more clients. Mm-hmm. And I already had a full book of clients, and I didn't really lose many in the transition, maybe like I can count on one hand how many, but
Good.
I think I ended up that first year at Utopia with like something like 28 clients or something that were brand new.
Is that because they were filling the space and time that you were using managing your business and your employees?
I think it was several things. My marketing was more authentic because I wasn't as stressed out trying to, manage all these side things. And I was really focused on my actual original mission with skincare and my specific method of skincare. So I think that was part of it. And I think the other part of it, believe it or not, I think the zip code change had something to do with it. Just the part of town I was in. Many of my clients told me when I was moving that I was actually moving closer to them, which I never even realized that that was a thing. So I think that was part of it. And I think being part of Utopia, because it's not just a place where you go pay rent, there's a lot of different professionals. And I think that kind of lends itself to more word of mouth, maybe. Because I did get some just from word of mouth from other practitioners here. So
I know the other people who work here like to see you. They like to be your clients. So I'm sure
I
they're
have a couple
sharing about you
Yeah.
to their clients, which would definitely be business
I
building.
think because I've been doing skincare for so long and I have a tendency to maybe give a little more free advice than I should on that topic. I think that lends itself to just automatic referrals. Honestly, that's kind of always been the case for me.
So are you loving being able to just focus on your clients and helping them and not be distracted by all the other
Yes,
business things?
it's been great, honestly. And I feel like my clients get better service and better results even because I'm not distracted as much and I can really zero in on one person.
And you're showing up more relaxed, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Finally.
Totally.
That does make a difference.
I mean, I'm a little intense sometimes. I'm high ambition. I like to be doing something all the time, and I still am that way, but I feel like I'm not as pulled in as many directions and always like worried in the back of my mind, like while I'm doing a facial, like what's going on up front or what did I forget or what do I need to do the minute I get done with this? Yeah.
Yeah. So what I know about you is that extra brain space and time and energy you had, you've turned into something else. You've begun a coaching business that I think is really cool from what I've seen. It's super impressive and I see the value in it. I was saying earlier, I wish that all of our estheticians would take your course because then their businesses would be more solid and it would be great for everyone. But I would love it if you would just tell us all about that.
Well, it was kind of a natural progression. I actually, when I was running the larger spa, I got asked several times if I did that sort of thing. And I looked into it a few times and thought, yeah, I could probably totally do that. But
Do you look at estheticians and think, I could help you? I could fix your business. Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. And sometimes it's like just the simplest little solutions that I see. Sometimes it's very complex, but I kind of resisted doing it for a while. And then when I went solo again, after all these years, I said, okay, well, I'm going to do it. And then I was kind of floundering like how to really approach it because there's so many different aspects of the business. And so I think it took me a while to zero in on what I really wanted to focus on and who I wanted to coach. Because, at first I was like, I could do, a program for new estheticians or experience. And I really kind of like the demographic in the middle, like the not quite new, but not really figured out the direction they want to go. That's kind of tends to be where I shine in that department. So I've kind of built a program and I've taken it slow. I've not, because I do have a full book of skincare clients. So I'll only do like so many per quarter is what I decided for myself. And I maybe did a couple extra last quarter.
I'm sure you're fighting a demand problem.
Yeah. That's who I am. But it's been a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Really. It's been easier than I thought it would be, which is weird. So,
and I'm sure it's super gratifying when you see the results in someone else's business.
Oh yeah, totally. You get to experience it with them. And some of it reminds me of when I was in that stage and how exciting that can be.
So tell me a story. Give me an example of someone you've worked with.
There was a girl that reached out to me. She's actually in another state, but she went to Eric Fisher Academy. So I think that's how I came up on her radar, because she follows a lot of Wichita estheticians. And she was kind of, she moved to this other state and was rebuilding her business from scratch, basically. And she had had a little success, but was feeling very stalled out. Like, I've done all these things and this is all that I've gotten from it. And she's super smart. And I loved her, like, her vibe and her kind of her passion for the business. And we had a lot of things in common too in that respect, but we just kind of broke it down, like really zeroed in on who her ideal client is and how her current setup didn't always cater to that. So she actually ended up doing way more than she planned. Like, she ended up moving to a different location. She ended up almost doing a total rebrand, but in a subtle way that really aligned. And it's been great for her. So she's kind of let go of some things that weren't working and really been able to focus the energy from that onto that, and has had great success. So I'm real happy for her.
That's neat.
It was fun. And it was always, we did it over the phone because she's in Iowa. So it was great to kind of get to talk to her. We did just kind of a once a month thing. And I really looked forward to like hearing her. And I learned a lot from her too. So, and the other people I've coached too. I always get little nuggets of information that I don't expect. So I didn't expect that, which is nice.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Then you can take that and use it to coach someone else and better your own business.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You said she was maybe marketing to not the right, what do I want to say, target market. I find that happens a lot.
It's very common.
I see that. Yes, I see that across the board with hairstylists and everyone, that they don't determine exactly who they want in their chair, in their suite.
Well, no one tells you that.
Yeah.
When you're in esthetician school.
And it's really simple.
They don't tell you. And some people kind of intuitively do it, I think. With her, she knew who she wanted to work on, but I think she was getting distracted with worrying about the rest of them that weren't her ideal client. Like, she had some ideal clients, but then she's like worried about price. And but really her ideal client isn't worried about price. And so it was kind of like I think she knew, she had just never really put it in black and white. I think that's huge for a lot of people, like write it down, like who is it that you want to see. It is probably one of the most common things that I see and have seen over the years with estheticians, because they just want more clients. They're kind of frantic, like need more clients, like need more money, which is a real thing, but it's, when you get intentional, they just kind of show up. It's kind of spooky, really.
I've experienced that with Utopia. I get asked a lot, what do you do if someone comes to you and wants to lease a suite and isn't a good fit? How do you turn them away?
I think you and I have talked about that too.
It never happens. We just don't attract those people.
Yeah.
And so usually the people who do come to us about a suite, I think it's just that whole, you determine who you want to have. And you're right. It's kind of like magic. They just kind of show up automatically.
Well, and what you probably notice, this is what I have seen with myself and many other people in the industry, is once they figure it out, they notice the people that are showing up are a lot like themselves, you know.
And they make you shine when they're your ideal client. They're doing their skincare at home. They're doing all the things. And they make you and your business shine because they're working well with you.
And your days are a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. That's a big way to avoid burnout.
Because owning a business is so much, it takes a lot of investment and risk and work. And if you do all that and then you aren't happy working all day, that's the worst. And I have seen that, and I've been that person.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge. Absolutely huge.
That just shows the value of what you offer. I love it. What's another, so you help them determine their target market and market to them. What's another big thing that, without giving too much away and giving free advice, but what's another big thing that you see that you like to work with?
Well, and I think we've talked about this before too. I think the biggest obstacle that I see and have seen, whether they're new and have no clients or have a little experience under their belt, or they're thinking about becoming a solo, like they're working for someone, the common thread that you see the most is fear. And it's scary. I mean, it's a huge leap, and fear. And the other thing that kind of goes along with that is like really believing they can do it. You know, I think
Mindset.
kind of hold themselves back, like subconsciously, like they make it harder because it feels like this huge thing. So they're constantly focused on how hard it is, and then it becomes hard. And I went through that myself as a solo in the beginning. And one of my clients actually said to me, she's a very successful business person. She owns a lot of businesses. And she told me, if you're always focused on not having enough, you won't have enough. And I always remembered that. And it is so true. And so I would tell myself that when I would get freaked out. And it was almost like I said, it's kind of spooky. I would have that thought in my head, and then I'd make a big sale, or I'd get a new client or an opportunity of some sort. So I've tried to kind of, I guess that's my biggest piece of advice besides the ideal client. So
I love that.
And there's a lot of specific strategies to do that, I think, depending on the person.
Mindset. I see when someone's coming into Lisa's suite, they're scared going solo, which, I mean, we've all been there. But also sometimes they have their loved ones in their lives, their spouse or their mother or best friends saying, what are you doing? What if nobody comes with you? And they're trying to protect you. But then if you start spiraling in that mindset, then all those things will happen. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like their fear becomes your fear. Yeah. I totally went through that. When I was in esthetician school 20 years ago, there weren't hardly any estheticians in Wichita. And I got told by family members, by friends, you can't get a job doing that. There's no job. You know, you won't make any money doing that. They kind of viewed it more as a hobby. And kind of the same thing when I went into business for myself. Like, you do kind of absorb that fear sometimes. So I guess my advice for that is not everyone gets a microphone.
Yeah.
You know, don't kind of take that to heart and recognize that that's their fear.
I always say, don't listen to someone who hasn't done it before.
Yeah.
You
they
know,
probably mean well. They probably really care, usually.
Yes. They're trying to protect you from a big giant failure.
They probably do really care and are genuinely worried about you, but it's their fear.
But that's where, instead of listening to their mother or best friend or someone who's never done it, maybe they should talk to you who's done it successfully and find out, you know, because you'll share with them the real deal. This is what can go wrong, what probably will, what's happened, and what you need to watch out for. But the flip side is, all of these things can go right and well.
For sure.
Which you've built your business so that you have a lot of personal freedom too, which I know you're enjoying. You recently got back from a trip. I would love it if you would share with us, as we're in the middle of a snowy, cold winter. We'd love to hear about your trip.
I went to the Virgin Islands. And
for how long?
Lived on a sailboat for 10 days, which is insane.
Amazing.
Since I get seasick. But anyway, there's medicine for that. It was great. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm ridiculously fortunate to be able to do that. And luckily, I like my job because I flew home in a snowstorm, but I'm not sure I would have come back. But it's great. And
I advised you not to.
Yeah. You told me to stay for another week, which if that were an option, I might have done it. But yeah, it's great to just like literally turn everything off and lock the door and leave, you know.
And I love that you've built a business that you can do that.
Yeah.
And I noticed, because I am one of your customers, I buy product from you, that you really prepare before you leave. You're sending a lot of communication saying, I'm going to be gone. If you need product while I'm gone, you need to get with me now. And your communication is excellent. So I hope that while you're gone, you're not bothered. Is that the case?
No, I'm not really. I mean, there were a few messages, but they weren't anything, you know.
Nothing urgent.
Nothing urgent.
Yeah.
But it does take a lot of repetitive communication because, and I tell, other estheticians this all the time, clients aren't thinking about you. Like we think about skincare all the time. We think about appointments all the time, but they're not thinking about it. They have this whole life. So they need, you need to put that repeated messages out there about everything, I think. And so you feel like you're being annoying, but it really does. It makes a huge difference. So I've done it with everything in the last few years.
Well, we all in the salon miss you when you're gone, but we love knowing that that's what you're doing. And I think we're all proud of you for building a business that you can take that time out. And
I have to stay home for a while though. That was a lot.
Well, I think that really is the true definition of success. When you can work your business around your life to some degree. I mean, everybody, we do it for the income. We have bills to pay, but just when you can establish a business that will give you some time off, I think that's success.
It's something I've had to work at because I was stuck in that overwork mode for a long time. So I've had to intentionally make myself not work.
Well, and on the whole flip side of that, not to be negative, but I got to bring this up. I do feel like, and I'd love to hear you speak to this, some people enter the industry thinking that's how it's going to be year 1, year 2, year 5, even year 10. And I see that a lot too. I think people don't realize that you weren't able to take a 10-day vacation 19 years ago and leave your business, or even 5 or 10 years ago when you had the whole spa. But I find that people forget you have to do the work and build the business before you can.
Well, they don't know how demanding it is, and they don't know what they don't know, That sounds really weird, but it's so true. And I didn't know either until I got into it. I didn't start taking vacations until, the year I closed up the business was the first big vacation I took. Every time it was always like a long weekend, and it was always this rushed thing and
stress
that I had to squeeze in and
work really hard before and really hard when you get back.
Yeah. And I still do a little of that, but nothing like I used to. Like the thought, like I went this fall, I took a 3-week trip, and I've never done that in my life. And I never would have been able to do that with the operation I had before. So I think different people have different priorities. Some of them go into it thinking, I'm the boss, I can do what I want. And that's true. But when you're your own boss, what they don't know is you have to be your own employee.
Oh, I love that.
So
well said.
And that's a really hard transition to make if you're used to being an employee, and then you think you're going to have all this freedom. And there is a lot of freedom. I mean,
but a lot of responsibility.
It comes with a ton of responsibility. Yeah. And obligations. And
so when you decided to leave your spa and go solo, what were the things that you had to leave behind that stressed you out, that you had to let go of to come here?
Probably just the feeling that I wasn't quitting. That was really hard for me. That felt like defeat. Because in a way I was quitting, but I really had to let go of that thought, and really just being mentally invested in the employees that I had. I mean, I definitely wanted good things for them, but I had to kind of step away and be like, this is not my cross to bear anymore. You know what I mean? Like that was really hard for me because I did really care, and it was a stressful time for them, obviously. And letting go of that mindset of bigger's better, like you have to scale, you have to, it's the natural, there's a lot of pressure for that to be a natural progression. And that's kind of part of why I ended up in that situation.
And that's how you're wired.
Yeah, that doesn't help. But there was this kind of unspoken thing like, well, you got a full book of clients and you're succeeding, so you should grow it. Grow. That was always the mantra. And I had to kind of come to terms with that's not really making me happy,
Yeah.
And it's not really serving my client, the people I really want to serve, it's just creating stress. I had to let go of that mindset. That was really hard for me.
I was getting to know you during that time, and I didn't realize it, but now that you're saying it, I do remember seeing that. I can sense that you were, I remember you being very concerned about the businesses of your employees and your renters, but also trying to justify that you're not quitting, you're not backing down, you're just shifting, just changing your priorities.
And I kind of had to maybe forgive myself a little bit and be like, I really did everything I could do. I really did try to launch them, and was successful in some cases, and had to acknowledge that and kind of let that go. Like, that's their journey, not mine anymore.
Yeah.
So that was hard to let go. Hard. I didn't expect that.
It's because you care.
And I was saying goodbye to a lot of things, not just the employees, but, neighbors and, just different aspects of it. At first I kind of missed this whole storefront thing and just seeing a lot of random people. I'm a people person. I like people. So it was a big transition to go from that to being in a suite with just me and a client, or just me in between clients. That was a big transition, but now I love it.
Well, good.
Now I'm like, that's the best thing
We
ever.
like having you in the salon because you are a people person, and you rarely lock yourself in your suite alone. You're usually out and about, or the door's open and welcoming. What were some things that you had to bring with you?
Definitely the marketing aspect of it, which I kind of refined a little bit. I had to kind of stay on top of that, and just my overall philosophy with clients and being authentic with them. And I really ended up pivoting my services a little bit and niching down, I guess that's the word, niching. I let go of acne clients.
Oh, I didn't know
by
that.
and large. I mean, I'll still do that, but I kind of realized when things got more quiet, I kind of realized that wasn't really something I loved doing. So I'll still do them, but they have to be the right client, basically. Kind of focus more on just the skin barrier and that kind of thing.
Do you have trouble getting your clients to buy into the whole nutritional wellness? And
No.
Oh, good.
Not anymore. I just think there's more information about that now. People just get it more. When I first started, they probably thought I was crunchy granola and weird, which is fine because I kind of am. But now it's very accepted. And I think they're seeking that now. I think before it was a harder sell. I had to kind of almost train them,
I would think they would want to come in and have you fix it, give them the magic product, and they want to keep eating terrible and living their lifestyle.
And I definitely had my share of those people over the years, and I still occasionally get one. And that's part of that ideal client thing, and understanding that that's not who I want. And so now I don't see them anymore. They just don't materialize.
They just don't magically appear. So you've been at this for 20 years. Do you have clients you've had since the beginning?
I do. I have several that have been with me literally since I got out of esthetician school when I was a little baby esthetician. And they've been pretty regular over the 20 years. I call them my OGs. And I always look forward to seeing them. I try to make it a point to thank them occasionally, because they're some of the people who kept me going during the hard times, the
foundations of your business.
Like COVID and the 2008 recession and all that stuff. They're the people that were the diehards. And I think the reason that they've stayed with me so long is because they truly are my ideal client. They truly fit every aspect of it and can really be authentic with those people. I think that's really what it boils down to. There's a level of trust because we've been through a lot. We've figured some things out together, and I notice with something I've run into with coaching people that I didn't expect is newer estheticians sometimes have challenge with retention with clients, because I think when you first get into the industry, you're just trying to master all of there's so many details when it comes to skincare services. I mean, I don't know anything about doing hair, but like facials, the logistics are, and all the products and the ingredients and all the skin issues and things that get thrown at you, and you're still learning, and you're learning on the job. And so sometimes you're so focused on that, it's hard to focus on that,
The relationship.
how to get them to come back. You know what I mean? Especially in the beginning. And I've seen a lot of estheticians give up because they can't get enough people to repeat, and they're good estheticians, and they do a good facial, and they're passionate, and they love doing it, but they get kind of caught up in the weeds, I guess. That's what I've noticed.
I also notice sometimes that beauty professionals focus so much on getting new clients.
Yes.
Instead of focus on maintaining and retaining the ones that they have, who they already are there in your chair, in your studio. They're already a good client, and sometimes the energy to maintain them or retain them is better than spending time looking for new ones.
It's so much easier to keep a client than to get a new client, because especially now, it's harder now than when I started, because there's so much noise with social media. Social media did not exist when I became an esthetician. It's so weird. I think there was MySpace, but I don't think that counts. But
I don't remember any estheticians on MySpace.
I don't either. Yeah. So it's so weird that there's so much noise. People are bombarded with messaging, because the skincare industry in particular is very lucrative. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. And so there's a lot of competition with noise online. So it's really so much harder to get that new client. You can do it, and there's great ways to do it, but it's so much easier to keep the one you have and to grow that relationship and to get referrals from that person who is your ideal client, who's already bought in, they're already invested, instead of constantly trying to get these new clients. You do need new clients, but it's a huge overlooked thing. I struggled with it a lot, having employees. It was kind of one of the number one challenges I had with new estheticians.
Getting them to retain their clients.
Getting them to rebook. Rebook. Yeah.
And I think that people, when they are asking for the rebook, they feel like they're being pushy or appearing desperate, when really, as a client, that makes my life so much easier. Remind me before I leave to book my next appointment. It's on my calendar, and then it happens. Otherwise, you think a million times over, I need to book that appointment, and you just don't.
When they're afraid to rebook, what they're really afraid of is how it's going to make them feel, not how the client's feeling. They're afraid that they're going to be rejected. That's really all it is, what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And really, it's a no-brainer. 50-50, they're going to say yes. And
that goes back to that fear thing.
They already said yes. They're there,
Yes.
So it's an insecurity and a fear that needs to be overcome. I think because my services were always very specific with the holistic part of it, I feel like that part was easier for me, because I felt like I was getting people who were more on board, especially now.
They weren't attracted to the latest.
They want to sign up because they want something very specific. And that's why I think another reason to be very niche and very intentional about what you're providing, and just beat them over the head with that message. This is what I do, so.
Well, your competition isn't always other estheticians. It's what's happening on TikTok and Instagram and Amazon and all the other, like you said, noise coming out.
Well, I used to tell employees and booth runners and the clients that I coach now, estheticians that I coach now, that you literally have no competition. Competition really doesn't exist, because there's not a single person out there that does exactly what you do the way you do it.
Oh, I love that.
And so if you can remember that, the competition thing won't freak you out so much. It's good to know what others are doing and what's relevant. But I've seen a lot of estheticians get freaked out by what the competition was doing. I don't know if this is a story you want to hear, but
Sure it is.
when I was in my little 3-room place and dabbling with renting spaces, a girl that rented from me, who is, by the way, no longer practicing, but she came to me really upset and worried because a very well-known aesthetics business here in town moved in down the street. Literally, like, we were between stoplights.
Oh, wow.
And I was kind of like surprised she was so upset about it, because I really didn't consider it the same category. Like, they were kind of a little more mainstream, and they were very popular and busy and had a lot of like kind of, like the it brands at the time. This was a long time ago. So I really didn't think about it. Like, I heard they were moving in there. I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And she was really upset about it. And I was like, you're not competing with them. Like, the people that come to you don't want to go there, and vice versa. I feel like people get freaked out. It's that fear thing again. And then, I don't know, maybe 4 years later, I moved into that spot, that exact same spot. And I didn't realize it until we were remodeling that space, that I remembered that, like, oh my gosh, I'm like moving in here. So it just kind of goes to show that people are going to come to you because of you, not because of, your brand that you're carrying, or your, because you're doing hydrofacial, that's a big popular one right now. So it's really because they stay with you because you're you. So
They've built the trust and the relationship.
yeah,
And they're getting the results.
exactly. Yeah. So there's my competition story.
Well, Pam, thank you for sharing all of this valuable information. You've had a really cool journey. It's been fun to hear some things and learn things that I didn't know, and you've shared a lot of value. So if someone who's listening today wants to get in touch with you regarding coaching, how would they find you?
They can go to my website, evergreenskinstudio.com. There is a professional coaching thing right at the top. Or they can look at my Instagram links. There's one that says For Estheticians. It's real simple. It's got all the information right there. So
Okay.
it's been great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for doing this. This was fun. Thank you so much for listening today. If you haven't already, be sure that you are subscribed on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss a future episode. And if you would be so kind as to leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, that would be incredibly helpful. It's one of the best ways to support your favorite shows. If you've already done so, thank you so much. Be sure to share this episode with a beauty professional who will be inspired by our conversation.
This show is part of the ICT Podcast Network. For more information, visit ictpod.net.